All right, good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. All right, well, I want to introduce, first of all, Nicole and Logan. They're from Trone Brand Energy, and they are our special guests today. And you guys know who Trone is, right? They're our brand communication agency, and they are helping North State better get noticed in our community, communicate, or at least help our community get a better understanding of who we are. They're our special guests today. They're going to teach us about brand, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves a little bit more and let them take the show.
Sure. It's nice to meet you all today. I'm Nicole, and I'm the VP Management Supervisor on your business over at Trone Brand Energy, and this is Logan, my AE, who does all the day-to-day work and gets all your stuff done, to be honest. And so, as Veronica was saying, one of the key things about branding is consistency. That's what we're going to talk a lot about today. The reason why we're doing this is to make sure that you all can have an understanding of what we're putting out there in the marketplace, because we're putting a lot out there. We're driving a lot of people to you right now, and so it's really important for us to for you guys to understand what we're putting out there, so that you can understand what the expectation is of your customers when they're calling in, because we are trying to change that expectation from a customer perspective. And so, who best to understand that but our spokespeople, right? You are the folks that are actually going to have the front lines to our customer. We can only actually bring them to you. Once they get here, we're relying on you all to make sure that you close the deal, you help them out, you answer their questions. And so what I thought I would do today is take you through a little bit of the history of how we got here. Really, it's rooted in Royster's speech that he gave last summer. That's where we started, and that actually moved us into a marketing strategy that I'll take you through that gets us to the creative that is out there. And then we'll talk a little bit about how to be a brand ambassador. I know I have, I think, 30 minutes, or about 25 minutes. I know everybody, I know your schedules are critical in regards to getting back to our customers, so I will keep going, and if you have questions, certainly write them down. We can certainly go through them at the end. Also, this is just kind of a starting point. I believe Veronica and Christy Stone and team are going to be taking you all through some additional training for the next few weeks. So this is just to kind of, when you all are going through that, we want you to remember this presentation and know where it came from. And if you have questions throughout that, please feel free to ask us, okay? Because we're continuing to work and strive to get your brand to be as great as it can be, okay? So where did this all start? Well, this all started because Royster came to us and said he wanted to be the most beloved internet company in the country, which is a huge and lofty goal. But what it said to us is that we want to really change the face of who North State's going to be in the future, and the internet is the future of technology. So we certainly, and what we're trying to do is certainly the future. So that was really exciting and a really big goal. And this is really what inspired us. He came to us and he said to us he wants to inspire without limits. Well, what does that mean? It means that we want to open people's imagination. We want to open people's thoughts about what they can do with North State. So how do we do that in a communication perspective? We were currently the phone company, and that's a great legacy brand that we have. Good morning, Christy. How are you doing? But how do we take people to a different place? And really where he wanted to go was this, to inspire without limits, meaning to kind of free people of what they knew about us and give them a new purpose for what we stand for, but also free people of their constraints when it comes to technology and the internet, okay? People are inspired by simple, remarkable, memorable, unexpected experiences. You all know that when you're speaking to somebody on the phone and the conversation is positive and productive, whether was a negative call in the first place or not, I know your goal is to try to get them to feel like it was a positive experience, like it's moving forward, like it's productive. And so as we go forward consistently across the board, we want people to feel this way when they interact with us, okay? This is going to be North State's mission. We really want those things. If you're thinking about you're going for a particular communication, and you either want to keep it simple, you want to make it remarkable, you want to make it memorable, you want to make it unexpected. It doesn't have to be all four things, but you want to think about the situation and think about how I can bring that to the situation, okay? Our new mission really is to turn up all of these fiber hoods and light up the select buildings across the Southeast and move people to fall in love with our brand. Okay, so if our new mission is to really change people from knowing us from just having the great phone company service that we've had in High Point to moving to a new fiber optic fiber hood arena, how do we get folks to fall in love with our brand if they don't know us that way? It's like starting from scratch. It's like introducing ourselves, right? So how do we do that? And that was our challenge. That was our goal. And so this was the big overarching root strategy that we were going off of to get into building our brand, okay? So from a branding perspective, what we do is we really look at objectives and strategies and try to determine how to best understand our audience. So one of the things that we did a lot of research, we talked to a lot of folks, and we started with the core objective, which was rooted out of everything that Royster had told us, which was to evolve from a local telecom to a fiber optic company. That's a pretty lofty goal. Our folks that are in that, who will utilize us as a fiber optic company, we're calling them affluent connectors. The folks that are looking for more speed, looking for more ability to use more devices, tend to have more equipment, are usually have families and have children in the family and at home, and then they also tend to be able to afford or looking for more, so they can, that's what we call them, an affluent connector. One of the critical insights that we learned in our research was that folks didn't really trust a local company to deliver this high-end technology. Interestingly enough, they say the opposite when they want to talk to you all. So they're really excited to know that you're down the road. But when we're talking about fiber optics, they don't necessarily trust that the phone company would be able to bring that to them. So they don't like Time Warner, they really don't, but they look at them as a big company, so a big company can deliver our needs. A small company can't. How can a small company do more than Time Warner? How can a small company do more than AT&T? So we have to change that perspective. This is a small company that can. And so how do we change that? And that was a big insight for us and a real big goal. But it is there's a juxtaposition between that perspective and the reputation building we need to do and the understanding that you all are right here to help them. So that we've got to play that throughout everything that we're doing, okay? And so what we needed to figure out is to show how we bring fiber and the speed that goes with it right to their home. So one of the things that we've mentioned here was the affluent connector. This is what we call an audience persona. So while we're building a brand, we really want to understand who's our person, who are we talking to. Everybody has different nuances, but if we can make a general statement about them, that's what we want to create so that you all kind of know the kind of people that might be calling you about fiber, okay? So we like to think about it in 4 different areas. We feel that our affluent connectors, they think, here's what they're thinking and they're rationally thinking. I want my TV and internet connection to be available always, to be state-of-the-art, to handle multiple devices in my home. I think about it very little unless it goes down, which you all know probably better than anybody. That's when they call, right? Is when something is going wrong. But this is this is the mindset. That's why we call them the affluent connector, because they're very big users of TV and internet, okay? I feel this is where that insight came from. I wouldn't trust a small local company to deliver the technology I need. I don't like Time Warner, but will tolerate them because they have the products I need. But we believe that it's because they don't know they have another option, or they don't have another option. We all know that there are certain areas that that Time Warner only serves, or AT&T only serves. This is how we want, this is the way that the connector, the affluent connector, sees themselves using TV and internet. I just want it to work. I get all my information, entertainment from the internet these days. It's how we live our lives. I don't think much about speed. It's a problem when multiple devices in our home are in use and the connection is slow. So folks are using it, but they may not even realize how much speed they have, and they may not realize what the opportunity is. They may not even realize that they can actually get more. And then I share, this is how the affluent connectors speak to their friends, how they share their information. I share what I like on social platforms like Facebook, and I complain loudly when my carrier messes up. So this is one of the things about going after this market, is that they're very vocal. So if we set high expectations, we have to meet them. If we don't, they're going to be calling, or they're going to be saying, I trusted Norstate, I took a leap of faith, I went with Norstate, and they didn't meet my expectations. You know, I shouldn't have made the change. We don't want that to happen. So there's a lot of things happening operationally that we're putting into place that are trying to ensure that those phone calls are not coming in. Nothing is perfect. Stuff is going to happen. But we need to. The reason that we need to know this is because, as you'll see in some of the creative that I'm going to show you, we will be on Facebook, and Facebook is going to become a big component of customer service and what we're managing, because that's where they are. And if we're not there, then we're not controlling that conversation. If we're off of it, it just allows it to happen. Okay. From a brand perspective, so that's our audience, who's going to be calling us, right, and who we're talking to. How do we want to act as a brand out in the marketplace and when they call us? So one of the things, remember, that Royster said was he wants to inspire without limits. Well, we're calling that an enlightened liberator. That's who our brand is. We're thinking forward, we're enlightened, we're thinking in the future, we're giving technology that actually can allow people to free themselves of their current concerns. Okay, so that's what our brand is going to be all about. We remove the limits from them. We can take away anything that they're concerned about because of the speed, the clarity, the connection right to the home, for all the reasons that we know fiber is a better product than what else is out there. We want to be optimistic and upbeat. That's where the enlighten comes into. It's about being positive. I'm hoping that you all are feeling internally that there's this shift to things being productive and positive. Positive, there can be conflict, but we want it to be positive conflict in the idea of moving things forward and making change. So especially, and this will be something that we talk about at the end here, but especially when you all think about what you're hearing for customers, Christy needs to know what those things are. If you're hearing something and you can't answer them, you can't productively make things moving forward, then you need to feel empowered to say something. You're the front lines. If we're sending them to you and you're getting these phone calls and they're asking questions that you can't answer, we need to find you an answer. It's not, we just can't answer it, so we're going to just, we're just going to kind of move that aside. We need to figure out how to answer the questions that are coming in, and some of them might be new because we haven't done this before with Norstate, so some of them might be new, okay? When people get our communications or they talk to you, we want them to feel inspired and free to do what they want. We want them to feel happy. So that's what, when we were creating the creative, we wanted people to walk away with it with a happy feeling, with a inspirational feeling, and that's what we're hoping to build from a reputation standpoint, is when you call us, when you work with us, that's the kind of environment you're going to get, okay? And then from a rational standpoint, from a brand perspective, people have to rationalize why they're going to switch. Everybody we're going after has a product already. There's no one that doesn't have a TV, most likely, or an internet connection already. So we're asking them to switch. That's so much harder than having a introductory product that no one has, because everybody just wants it, right? So we have to convince them about why to switch. That's where the rational relevance comes into play. We can say trust us all day long, or we can say that we're inspirational, and we can show them that they're going to feel happy with us. But at the end of the day, people have to make the decision, because it comes down to what they're going to spend and how much money they are already spending and what they're currently getting. So we want people to take away that I'm getting the full potential of internet and TV today, and I'm ready for the future. I have shed any constraints I'm currently concerned about with my TV and internet. The legs is what we use as what we call copy points. But these are the things that support that rational relevance. So we can say that I'm ready for the future because we know that our fiber network is future ready. It can continue to grow with the needs of our customers. The fact that we're bringing gigabit to the market, There aren't many people that are bringing gigabit to the area. The fact that it runs on light and there's no theoretical limits to light. You'll see in some of our creative that we've identified fiber in these like light passes, and that's the idea of the fact that it's being used through light, and that means that you're limitless when it comes to kind of how far we can expand it. From an Norstate experience, we really want things to be simple, feel seamless, uncomplicated, easy pricing, things of that nature, and responsive service always comes along with that. Okay? So we have our audience persona, we have our brand persona, so what do we do next? Well, we write a strategy that basically we give to our creative folks, and we say, go off and create something. And so this is kind of a cut down version of that. What we want our materials to have a reverberating story. What do we want it to be saying out there to everybody? This is where the consistency gets into. So we want everything to be consistent. So Norstate Fiber frees me from constraints. If we want anybody to know anything, it's going to be that our product, it can give you what you're looking for. You don't need another product. This is what is going to service all your needs. Okay? So we do what we need to get to buy. So we need to get affluent connectors to choose Norstate as their internet and TV provider by showing them the potential of a fiber optic connection. Okay? And the key word here is choose. They have to choose us. That's going to be, we have to be in their area, which I know is going to be difficult to manage in some instances because some people may want this and we're not there yet. But they do have to choose us. They have to actively decide that we're going to be their new internet and TV provider, and so that's going to be the big challenge. One of the things that we like to share with our creative folks is to get kind of different thinking, is to think about it a little differently. We're not trying to sell TV or internet. Because if we were just trying to sell TV or internet, we'd have a product spot. We'd have pricing, we'd have, we'd have a list of all those legs that I just showed you. That would be if we were selling TV or internet. What we're really selling is liberation and joy through fiber. Go back to the beginning. To inspire, we have to show joy. We have to make folks feel inspired and feel joy. It can't be all about what the product brings when we talk about reputation building. There are many differences, and you'll see the different creative. In different places of marketing, those legs become very important. But in TV and in some of the bigger, broader creatives, we really just want to inspire, and we want to talk about this liberation and joy. Okay? So, I'm sorry, I didn't bring a speaker, and the speakers here were not connecting for some reason, so I'm going to play this. Hopefully everybody can hear it. But this is our TV spot. I'm hoping you all have seen it on TV. But if not, this is our spot.
Our imaginations can take us to some pretty amazing places. But what if our imaginations move at the speed of light? Where could we go then? Norstate delivers gigabit internet and stunning HD on a fiber network that reaches right into your home, putting everything you can imagine at your fingertips the moment you imagine it. So stop thinking about the things you can't do and start to imagine all you'll be able to. Norstate, imagine able.
So that is our TV spot. And so the Imagine Able, where did that come from? So imagine all you'll be able to do. If we want you to remember anything about the marketing, that's all we want you to remember for these big things, for the TV, for the out-of-home. Because you can only say so much in a small period of time. So we have to think about one thing that we want everybody to walk away with. And that's what we wanted to spark in folks, the thought that they might be able to get something different for internet and TV. The thought that they might have a different option to AT&T, or they might have a different option to Time Warner, or they might have a different option to CenturyLink, or whoever they currently have from an internet perspective. It's that spark. It starts the conversation. We want them to go from TV to your website. We want them to go to TV to then calling you. Like, we want people to search, to go in and do, oh, I just saw that commercial for Norstate. I'm going to type in Norstate and see what else that means. The commercial is ideal to just get that match lit. and then the rest of it is to take you through all of the actual specifics, okay? Out of home is kind of the same way. You can't say a lot in out of home. I'm sure you all have driven by out of home that works and doesn't work. You drive by an out of home board and they have so much copy on it that you don't even know what it said, and then you have, and then you have creative that really kind of stands out. The goal of our out of home was really to, again, get that kind of spark, connect when they see the TV, they see that the out of home. How do you connect that all to North State and go to find out more? That was really that goal. Okay. We did some. We have an airport sign. They're on both terminals. One of the reasons that we did the airport sign is if you go up and down PTI Airport, if you ever look down those signs, it's all the big companies that are in the area. You've got Volvo and Wake Forest Baptist Health and Cone and Mac, and there's all the folks that basically make up the economy in the area, right? They're offering people jobs. They've been here for a long time. We wanted to be there. North State should be there. We're a 100-year-old company in the area. We belong there. We service this area, and so from a reputation standpoint, we wanted to be in that list of companies that are supporting the Triad. Okay, and so what we had here was North State's fiber to the home network transforms Triad homes and businesses into hubs of possibility, delivering gigabit internet, stunning HD, and technology that can help you do more faster. Stop thinking about the things you can't do and start to imagine all you'll be able to do. So again, the goal here was reputation building. How do we get people to know that we're here? Okay. Then we start jumping into the more specific items, and this is the stuff that's going to really get folks to either go to the website or to call you all. So we do banner ads, and this is where we start getting into, when I talked about the legs of things, it starts getting into the real specifics. This has some video in it. This goes directly to the website, and then big bold there, we're trying to get people to call. So that's what our goal is this is starting to get action oriented. So we believe from a brand standpoint that TV and the internet advertising, they go hand in hand with each other. The TV has people go to the internet to search. When they search, we come up. It's again, a consistent message. We want to make sure that we hit them from when they're ready to receive our information. And so that's one of the reasons that this matches. We have two spots out there. One's the little boy with the planets. The other one is our producer that has all the music flying around his head. So we have both the planets, and this is the other version of our TV spot here. And so they're tied together. And all of that leads them to our website, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. And again, the goal here was to keep it simple. Remember we talked about earlier, we want to keep things simple and remarkable. We want to keep it memorable. Well, the new format really for websites is called a cascade. I'm sure you all have your smartphones, and they all go like this. That's what the design of the new internet, of all the new sites are because on a phone, you do this, which is a cascade, right? So that's how we've designed your website. And when we designed it, again, we wanted to keep it really simple. Each one of these blocks are individual locations on your site. So we have a website, if we have a display ad, we can actually send them to a specific place on it so they can jump down. So for instance, we have checking out our, doing a simulation on speed. If we want to send them directly to product, they can go directly to product. It doesn't go to the top every time. So there's ways to do that. But the idea was to keep this really simple. What is fiber? Talk about its difference, and what are the products? We're currently in, and so that's kind of where, and then obviously how to get the product or when it's coming to your neighborhood, which is critical right now for us because we're not everywhere. And so that is super important. The very exciting information is that this was phase 1. Phase 2 is happening right now, and phase 2 I believe is going to be scheduled to be launched soon, and we'll have ability to actually purchase online, which would be really great. That would be really helpful to us. As I mentioned from the website, it's also going to be critical that we're on Facebook. So Facebook is about to launch in the next week or so, and Again, the reason that we want to have this page is because we want to be a part of the conversation. People talk about us all the time. We have ways to kind of track our name throughout the internet and to be able to see who's mentioning us. If we're not there, we can't speak to them. And so this is just another avenue. We will have opportunity for this to go directly to customer service. We're working with Christy to kind of get that set up, and so this will be something that's going to be actively monitored. What we're also going to be doing, taking this one step further, is, as you know, we are working on different neighborhoods. We're continuing to add neighborhoods, and so we're going to be going actively after neighborhoods that we're passing with fiber to get them to sign up. So part of our process is going to be as a part of the website and Facebook is going to be specific neighborhood landing pages. And so these are just for example, but Adams Farm West, is basically done, but that was just for example. But we would be tracking the progress of all the different neighborhoods. And so people will have more information than they've ever had about these neighborhood builds. So we're going to be a little bit more transparent about where we are. Our vans show up, they start to dig in the neighborhood. We want folks to know why we're there. We want to tell them the progress, and we want to get them excited about it. There's a long time between when we're actually digging and sometimes when we go live, and so we want to keep that momentum. We want to make sure that they understand what's happening. So you may get some more phone calls around that because we're going to actively be talking to them and say you can go to your special URL landing page, or you can call us if you have questions. But we're going to try and be advocates of pushing information to our customers or our potential customers so that they're in the know. Okay. This next slide. Don't worry about what's actually on the slide. I put this up here to tell you that this is actually our plan for the neighborhood, for reaching out to our neighborhoods. Okay, it is a full activation plan, all the way from pre-dig all the way to activation until they activate. We are going to be actively talking with these folks, and if they buy our service, they're coming out of this system, and they're going into an ongoing conversation. HBO To Go comes out with a new movie or a new feature. Well, how do we connect with our folks that actually are our customers? We need to find ways to really be actively talking with them. So this is just an example. I know it seems like a lot of touch points. The point of this slide is to say we are driving people to you. This is our goal. We have a very robust marketing strategy put into place to get folks to you. Okay? So, and there's brand standards and all sorts of things that kind of go along with that. If anybody, I know Chrissy, you probably have that, but this is just kind of more from a graphic standpoint, from a consistency standpoint. We have these things in place so that everybody kind of knows, here's how we talk about the brand, and this is what we're doing. Okay? So with all that in mind, how do we become a brand ambassador? Well, the first and foremost is customer centric. In every system, in every situation, we need to think about it from the customer's perspective. Customers are at our core. We're going to be actively driving them to you. So we want, rather than thinking about what's best from a North State perspective, we need to think about it from a customer perspective. So again, when you all are hearing from customers and they're asking questions and you don't necessarily have an answer, that would be the time to say, someone's asking me this, I don't know how to answer it. What is the best? And then the conversation with Christy or whoever it might be might say, well, what's the best thing for North State? What's the best thing for the customer? How do we make this work for us both? How do we make sure that the customer walks away with a positive experience? So that's going to be critical in everything that you're doing. We really, being knowledgeable about the products, about the prices, and about providing solutions is going to keep our process seeming simple and seamless. When somebody calls, if we don't need to necessarily put them on hold to find out more and things of that nature, it kind of feels like the whole company is working on the same, on the same system. Everybody understands the same things, and so again, information should be at your fingertips. If you don't have it, you need to let folks know, because you should be able to speak to the customer's questions, and you should know what we're actually driving out there. The information, the products, the pricing, what we're sending out to folks that they might call. Okay. And then ultimately, we want to keep it simple, keep it clear, be confident, and inspire. Okay. I know that sounds like, okay, I can just say that to you all, like that's easy, right? But if something seems like it's starting to get complicated, then if there's a way to stop the complication and figure out an easy or simple way to get the customer to understand what's going on and potentially, get back to them or give them enough information so that they feel satisfied at the moment while they're calling. Again, I know there's going to be a lot of training that you all are doing that will help of the actual tools. I'm not here to give you tools on how to actually get folks off the phone or get them on the phone or that sort of thing. Christy will certainly be doing that. But I think from a consistency standpoint, we really want to have our folks, our customers, when they call in, feel like the process has been simple. A lot of things we hear about Time Warner, a lot of things is that it's complicated. I sit on the phone forever. I don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what I'm talking about. You have to enter in all your information, and then they ask me for all the information again. You've all heard kind of that perspective. We want to be the opposite of that, and so that's ultimately the goal. Be confident and inspire. When you're confident, you inspire. I think when you sound like you know what you're talking about, you sound like you're being helpful and productive, then you inspire somebody to want to talk to you more, right? They don't want to just dread talking to you or get off the phone like they do with Time Warner. They want to. They feel relaxed and at ease by speaking to you on the phone. This is an interesting one. Be professionally transparent. We want to be transparent. That's why we're communicating with them so early on about the dig. While we're going to be talking to them throughout the entire process. If something goes wrong, obviously that's the hardest thing to manage on the phone, right? Because they're upset and that sort of thing. So the question is, and one of the things we've talked about, again from a training perspective, is how to let folks know what's going on without going into this long backstory about what's going on in the back office. It's not about the back office, right? They don't want to hear about what we're doing in the background to make it right for them. But how do we be transparent enough on the front end that we're not hiding behind an issue, and how do we keep that conversation going in a productive manner, and then create a more remarkable experience. We do even in situations when folks are calling and they're upset, we can still somehow change that perspective. Somehow, even when people are upset, they really just want to be heard. They just want to know they're being listened to and something is being done to help them. If every time somebody calls and they're upset, we can at least make them feel like they're being heard and something is being done to help them, then that's pretty much what we can do and actually then follow through with it, right? Then that's all you all can do, and then someone has to actually go and follow through with it and go and fix it or do whatever we've promised that they're going to do. So I think that's what we mean by remarkable, is it feels like you've gone above and beyond for them. That's really what that means. And advocacy, as I started off by saying, you are the North State spokespeople. Brands pay spokespeople all the time, to professional spokespeople, celebrities, things of that nature, to be spokespeople, right? Because they want people to listen to them. Well, we want people to listen to you. You are our spokespeople. That's who you are. We are bringing folks to you to close the deal, to answer their questions, to move them to the right place. And we hope that every interaction is going to be a positive experience because we're telling them that it's going to be. And so that's the goal. That's really the goal. But we need to know how to help our spokespeople. So we're putting things out there in the world. And as you all find yourself in that role, again, we want open communication about what you're hearing and what we can do different to make sure that we're communicating something clearly. If something seems to be confusing, you're getting a lot of calls because someone's confused by something, then we need to know where that came from so that we can actually fix it. And I think the most important thing is to be you. I don't believe that Christy's going to be handing out scripts or things for you all to follow. It's about consistency, but it's about understanding the brand and being consistent in your way. You can talk about you're all going to be remarkable in a different way. You're all going to find a different way to be simple, but the best thing you can do is be yourself, because somebody's going to be talking to you on the other line. You're both people. You're both humans. It's not somebody that's in another country that's kind of talking to them. You all can relate. You all most likely have TV and internet. You all most likely have, you've maybe been in the situation before. But at the end of the day, you are the spokespeople for North State. So how are you in your best form for North State's brand? And that's what we would ask you to kind of think about, is as you read, again, we'll give you materials, and there's going to be a lot of things that are coming to you to reiterate all this stuff. As you go through it, the goal would be, think about how you do this. Think about how this is best meant for you. Because I think we can all agree that this sounds great. I live in Kernersville. North State's not at Kernersville yet. I ask Royster all the time, please come to Kernersville. and because when I go through all this stuff, the thought of having another option is exciting. And I think that's really the point, is having another option is exciting. Everybody wants options. The question is, what's it going to take to make them choose to switch to that other option? We all have favorite brands. I have a favorite shampoo. The thought of switching to another shampoo, I don't know, it might not take me as much because it's $3, right? So I might go get another shampoo. But the idea of doing an internet service where you have to shut down your internet, have somebody install, it's kind of more like switching bank accounts. And the thought of switching a bank account, I don't know about you all, it takes me months to think through that process. You're afraid that something's going to go wrong. And so how do we get people through that process? How do we instill in them that they should take that leap of faith? They're not going to be disappointed if they go with us. And that's kind of the goal. Okay. And that's what I've got. I hope that is helpful. That's our stream of lights. You'll see a lot of, you saw it in the website, you'll see kind of a lot of things that are designed. These are our stream of lights that are meant to be optimistic and hopeful and based on the product. So any questions or anything I could go over again?
I have a question. So you mentioned social media,
yes,
and us being on Facebook. Has there been any consideration on our marketing videos to be on YouTube as well? And if so, are they currently on YouTube?
They're not currently on a North State YouTube page. We can absolutely, we've talked about that, and I think that there was one reason we hadn't had them on there yet, but okay, that's definitely been in conversation. They are currently your spot is actually on Trone's website and Trone's YouTube page, but we will want to ultimately, once we get in social media, we're going to want to start connecting video to all of that. So yes, video on YouTube is definitely where we want to be. One of the things that I didn't talk about in this presentation, but we're also doing, is we have another whole push from a press perspective. One of the things that we really want to be is the leaders in this industry. We're bringing gigabit to the Triad. It's pretty awesome. Google is saying again that they're going to bring it to Charlotte and to Raleigh. They came a year ago. They said they were going to bring it a year ago. They passed them by. They're saying again that they're coming this week to review again. They're not coming to the Triad. We're here in the Triad. That's who's here. And that's really a big deal. And so from a press perspective, we want to make sure that we're going out there and getting stories and getting on the news about what North State's doing for the area, what all this, gigabit's about and everything. So we want to be the focal point. We will have video access for press. We've got video of the fiber being dug and laid. We've kind of done that in kind of a press kind of friendly way. And we're working on a lot of infographics and things of that will be key tidbits to really get that information out there. So it's definitely in the works.
Wonderful, thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, does anybody else have any questions for Nicole?
Nicole, thank you very much. Logan, thank you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, absolutely. I hope it was helpful.
Just one quick thing, guys, just to tie it into some of the things that you're going to see from us, as well as product support. We recently talked about our name being User Advocacy Group. You saw Royster's message about that? Does that make sense why we're called the Advocacy Group now? Okay, so that's a tie-in. Another tie-in is Stephanie and Veronica and Sarah are working really hard on revamping our QA form. We're not going to have a QA group. We're going to have a customer experience group or user experience group. And that QA form is going to morph into a brand ambassador type of sort of a KPI. Like we would look for you to be, we're constantly going to have conversations with everyone at every level in this company about being on brand and making it so deep into our DNA that it's just woven tightly into the fabric of our center and our contacts. So we're just going to have a lot of conversations about being on brand. So be open for it. Now you did a really great job of putting it out there and the vision out there. So I appreciate it. But I just want you to know what the next steps are going to do. Everything we do is going to be about being on brand and being in brand, so that we can service our customers and add to our family of customers. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you all. Grab a donut on your way out if you haven't had one yet.